been so excited to make this video. I've had this stack of everything over on my side table, and I've been adding to it, and it's been kind of making a mess as I have been getting ready for the holiday season. So I have a mix of supplies here. These are things that are left over from previous years that I want to hold on to. I have things that I purchased this year from a variety of sources. And I have all of this stuff piled all over the place. And my goal today is to go through all of my holiday supplies and decide what I want to pull from while creating my album this year. So this year, I am making this super mini album, and you can probably see my phone up there because this mini album is so reflective, which I love. What I don't love is that it's starting to get scratched up. There was protective film on it, and I took it off thinking, oh, I don't need that while I create the album. Well, that was a huge fail on my part, but I think it's still gonna be really pretty. I'm just gonna try to be very careful with it. This gold album is from Jamaica Makes, and it is 4 by 5.5 inches. I have in here my product play lesson, so you can see a little sneak of that to see how I made it, and you know, kind of what I'm doing with that. Join that class and you'll see my lesson on there. I also made this album to include these, so the inside of the covers were this kind of like a dull gray. It just wasn't very pretty. So I took a paper from I can't remember if it was from the main kit or the add-on papers, and I trimmed it to fit the inside of these covers and lined it, and I love how that came out. I absolutely love this paper, and I'm so thrilled with that. And I do actually have some video for you of how I made that, so I will include that here. I'm not doing foundation pages minus my lesson for product play because my album is so small. I might do some initial decorating things that aren't actually foundation pages during the prep party, but for now, that's not really my focus. What my focus is going to be in going through everything today is kind of what products do I see myself potentially using this year? What products do not fit in my album? Because my album is this small size, there are certain things that I have in my stash that I want to keep in my stash that I would want to use in an album in the future that just won't fit in this album. It's totally fine. I'm not going to purge them. I'm just going to put them aside because I'm not going to pull from them this year. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go through everything, and I apologize in advance if this video is very long, but I have a lot to do to get ready. So the first thing I want to do is go through everything in my box, and I want to take this stuff out because I had added this in just to have a place to store it, but these are from this year. So to begin with, everything that's in this box is stuff that I saved from previous years. So these are things that I have, I went through my stash that I had been acquiring since I started this project 10 years ago, and I purged a bunch of things that I just knew I wasn't ever going to use, and I put those things, I gave them away. So this is kind of all that I was left with. This and this tray right here, and my numbers, which I'm going to do my numbers in a minute. But first, I'm going to go through this. So this is kind of my starting point, right? I want to go through everything, and I kind of want everything to fit in here, but I think that these small embellishment things might need to be in this separate container, just because there's so much, there's not like a lot of little compartments, and I like having things sorted out like this. So I'm going to maybe add to this. I'm not sure, we'll see as I go through. But the starting place is going to be going through everything on here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you guys on fast forward, and I'm going to quickly go through everything and put it into two piles. One are things that I might use this year, and two are things that I don't think I'm gonna use this year to go back into my stash. Now remember, I'm not purging anything because I already did that. Okay, so these are just things that are gonna go back into my stash to be used in another year. So I cleaned out this tray quite a bit. A lot of the things that I removed, I put off to the side were things I didn't want to use this year because they're too large or too bulky. Because this album is so small, I want to keep things very narrow and compact so that it doesn't take up too much space. I also love that I can keep my album in this box. I didn't go through all these papers because, and the cards, because I decided I want to go through my new stuff first, and then I will go through this and determine what coordinates. I also have this cute little tray here, and I put some of the things from this year's collection in this tray, And I think I might leave this out on my desk like this, not with these numbers though, because these are gonna go into my number organization system. What I do have though that I wanna put in here, so these are like the new like foam things. I'm gonna mix them with these pleather embellishments. These are the new stars. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these, which are last year's hearts that were very similar to the stars from this year. And I'm gonna put these in here. And I think that that's going to be a good kind of mix of supplies. These are some stars that I have left from a travel collection that I had in here, but I think, you know, maybe I will put them in here. So these are just some like die cuts, but we'll see as I go through. I do also have the embellishments in here. I don't want to cut anything out from there. So I think at this point, I'm going to start going through my new stuff. But before I do that, I want to figure out my number system and share that with you. So this is my number organizer. I have this separate tray here for numbers and it looks kind of messy. And that's because I have my numbers in Ziploc baggies and I like the organization. I don't like how floppy these are. I don't like how messy they look. This was done a few years ago and these are starting to kind of show signs of wear. So I think it's time for a slightly new system. I do also have some numbers that are like puffy stickers here. And I have some other numbers that are like pads and stuff, which, you know, that's gonna have to stay separate because you can't cut them out. But basically I have one for 0 through 25, and then I have one that's 26 plus because I tend to only go through 25 in my album, but sometimes you need a larger number. And I wanted to store those with everything. So this is what I decided to come up with instead of this. I'm gonna move this out of the way so we can work on my number system here. Instead of these, I have these. So I have been a Story Kit subscriber from the very beginning, and I have a ton of these envelopes. There's the small ones and the tall ones, and I decided that I want to use these small ones. They fit perfectly in here, and I am going to stamp with Stays On Ink the numbers on them, and I'm going to move all my organization over to here. So I'm going to pull out the 27 that I need, 0 through 25 plus and a 26 plus. And then I'm going to stamp all of those and relocate my numbers, including the new numbers that I purchased this year, into this system. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on super fast forward to watch that because that's going to take a little bit, but I think it'll be kind of a fun process. Okay, so I got my numbers into these. I had a few mishaps that you saw there. One of them I stamped backwards, and then I didn't leave enough time for them to dry. I was thinking the StazOn would dry immediately, and it does not on this plastic, although StazOn ink is designed to be able to stamp on all sorts of surfaces, like the plastic here, it can't, it doesn't dry instantaneously. So I did smudge a few of them, but I think that's fine. For a while I was closing them up, but I realized as I'm going through my supplies, I'm probably going to be adding things to each of these. So that was, you know, I'm not going to close them now. A few of these didn't actually have the string anymore, and that's totally fine. And I also forgot that 6 and 9 I tend to combine because a lot of those are interchangeable the way that they're designed. So I have all of these here, and now I'm going to start going through my new supplies and working them into my existing system. So the first thing I'm going to go through is the Ali Edwards main kit. Now I want to point out that I did bring out a few of the pieces already. These foam circles were part of this kit, which are one of my favorite things because it's like it's a totally new type of embellishment. And I'm trying to think, these were an add-on. I think those might be the only thing I already took out of this box, but I'm not positive. So if you see me unboxing this and it doesn't match the description on the website, that's why. So let's see here. I've got these wood veneer stars. So these are a little thick for what I like to use in, especially in this mini album, but because they are new this year and they would fit in my album, I think I am going to keep them as a possible embellishment. Okay, so these chipboard circles, these are kind of large. I think I'm not going to put these as something I could use this year. I'm going to put them aside. These things, I love these. These were one of the reasons I decided I needed to get this kit. These like word strips. Sorry, I know the plastic is kind of loud on the camera. I guess I could have taken everything out of the plastic first, but it's easier to just kind of open it with you guys. Plus, this way you can see my reactions. So these have like these really short little, or tiny little gold messages on them. And my thought with these, I think I'm gonna just keep them in here, is my thought with these was that these can go like on the edge of a page. Just gonna open my album and have just like a sample here. So I could put these along the edge of a page, which is kind of my goal with them. I'm just gonna keep my album out. Keep it like this so that I can compare things for size. But yeah, so I would put this like the edge of a page. So I'm very excited to use that. I'm thinking what other trays I want to use if I need more than just this one. Okay, I'm gonna pull over another one of these larger trays like this that will stack with that, and I'm going to put some of these embellishments in here. Just because I know as I start getting into everything, there's going to not be enough space. Okay, so this is this rubber December word. This is one of the big like pieces from this year, and I'm torn about whether or not I want to use it this year because I'm not a huge fan of the rubber, and it is very bulky, but it is very, you know, a 2022 designs. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of plastic here and put it in this tray. So I have the option to work with it this year. I kind of wanted to purge it out for another year, but I am going to keep it just in case. Okay, so I have these puffy stickers, and unfortunately these things do not have backers, which is what I like to staple it to backers. So I'm gonna see if I have anything in my stash. These ones that are from a large stamp set, but I think maybe I can cut them down so that they will work. So basically what I do is this. I'm sorry, I'm like digging around while I'm talking to you guys, is I will take these out of the packaging. Because I want to get rid of all of the packaging because it kind of gets in the way of me seeing the supplies, using the supplies, playing with the supplies. It takes up extra space. It's just not something I want in my stash here. And then I'm gonna cut this down. To be the size of this backer. Make sure that fits perfectly. There we go. And then I'm just gonna staple this clear backer on here. And that is going to be how I store those embellishments. This one, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna staple this on here. Okay, so I am actually all out of staples. So I'm going to need to grab some of those next week, and I will come back in here and staple these things down at that time. But for now, that's gonna have to do. This will be another one that I would have stapled. But for now, I'm just gonna put it with the backer like this. And when there's two sheets, I just staple them together. And in here, I have some other numbers from prior years that are similar. They're a different font. And I'm gonna just store all of these together so that when I'm working on my project, I can see the different options I have. Okay, there's 2 washi tapes in here. So I'm going to, again, remove the packaging, which is part of, what I'm doing today is removing all the packaging. And I'm gonna put these with the other washies that I have in my stash here in my little December daily tray. Okay, one of the things that came in the kit this year were these large circles, and these are just too big and too bulky for this album. So I'm gonna put those to the side. Then we have these number strips. I think I could see some ways to use these in the mini album. So I am going to keep these. I could put these in with my numbers, but I'm not going to because I'm going to keep them in here with these other strips for now. And the ones I don't use, I will probably move into my numbers. And then the last, oh no, there's 2 more things. Then there's these tags, these transparent tags. These are like vellum, these are vellum and they're very cute. And these are a good size for this album. So I'm gonna put them in here with a lot of these other tags I have. And then we've got the last embellishment in here are these large plastic words. So these were one of my favorite things in the kit, and I'm not sure about the sizing. So I'm going to hold each of them up and see if it's feasible to fit in here. So Twinkle looks like I can make it work. So I'm gonna keep it. Bah Humbug is just too big. So I'm gonna put that one to the side for another year. Mary, that one fits. Now, these would have to go this direction, not this way. And, that might work for the design. I might decide to not use them this year. I'm not sure yet. Fa La La, same thing. It will work. And Jingle also will work. So it's just the one doesn't fit in this smaller size, which is fine. And I would have to do them the other orientation. Okay, then we have cards. So in this size, the 4x6 cards have to go vertical like this, and they have to get cut down. So like this one has a frame, probably not going to be ideal for this album. But because these are the cards from this year and there's so few of them, I'm gonna keep them all in my stash. And I'm going to be very selective about the ones that I pull from the older kits. I like that one a lot. This one's very cute. This present one is perfect for this size album because these almost look like they should be going along the side there. The 3x4 cards are going to be harder to work into this album. I could punch them to make some smaller pages. I could adhere them on a larger page in the middle. I have some ideas, but I don't think the bulk of my album is going to include a lot of 3x4 cards, which is totally fine this year. I'm happy to work with some other designs. So I'm gonna put my 3x4 cards in here. My 4x6 cards are gonna go in this one. And then I have these 4x4 cards, which I think these will be super cute to kind of crop and use on photos or a different size journaling. Okay, so that is the end of the main kit embellishments. The papers are still separate. I'm gonna put this box back together and put that over in my stash. I'm not going to use that to store the kit as I'm working from it. I purchased this new stamp set this year. Oh, and here's another backer. These stamp sets come with the backers that I can use to add embellishments onto if I need it, because I don't use it for the stamp set, so I do hold on to these. This one is a alpha set. It is not particularly Christmas, so I'm not actually gonna store it with my Christmas supplies. I just got it because I really like this font. Then I also purchased the advent calendar, and this I'm going to open in December like an actual advent calendar, and I'm going to hang these up on my wall like I did last year, so I'm not gonna put it in with my supplies, and I will add them daily as I open them. Okay, so now I have my papers from this year. So these papers, this is a combination of the papers that came in the main kit, the add-on papers, and the specialty paper pack, and I don't remember which ones are from which, so I'm sorry about that, but you can definitely see those on Allie's website. I am going to go through and keep most of these, but some of them just might not work with my album size, so I'm going to kind of compare and take those ones out. So like, for example, this December one, and I'm just gonna put this over it, and actually, it's pretty close. I think I can make it work, but the holes would be inside of the D, and part of the R would get cropped off. That might be kind of cool though, so I'm actually gonna keep it. Stars, I love this paper. This ledger one is it's large. I don't know that it makes sense in the small album, but it would work, so I'm gonna keep it. A grid. This is one of my favorite papers. It might be wasted in this small album. I think it would actually be pretty cute. So I'm gonna keep that one. This one is super cool to cut up. Some stars. This tag one, again, could work if I cut it down, which a lot of these pattern papers were designed with the thought that you could cut them down to use in smaller albums, which I love. So this is actually from last year. This paper happened to be like one I had left over, and I think that it just doesn't make sense in the small size, so I'm gonna put this aside and save it for a future year. These were some scraps from one of the papers that I already used for my product play lesson, and I am gonna keep them. So I do keep all of my scraps with my supplies during the month, and then in the future, I will decide what to do with those scraps when I'm cleaning up at the end of the year, depending on how small they are. Let's see, this again is that same pattern. So I already decided that I think it could work. Let's see, what was the other one? The other one said something else. What did it say? December, I think. December. So this one says believe. And I think the same thing in this one could work. I'm gonna put those together. So these are from the specialty paper pack. So this one says all things merry and bright. And it's just a little too big. So I'm gonna put that one aside and save it. I love this one. Another one with the tags, presents. This vellum doesn't really make a ton of sense in the small size because the border, so I'm gonna put it aside for another year. This one has this grid on it. Put some like adhesive. This vellum's super gorgeous. Here's these trees. Here's again some scraps from my album liner. This joy paper, I love that. Bah humbug, super cute. Most of these I'm gonna just keep with here. This one, I love this paper. I don't see myself cutting it up to fit in here, but I don't know. So I'm gonna keep it, give myself the option. I'm not really trying to limit the amount of supplies I pull from this year. I tried to limit what I pulled from older supplies, but from this year, I'm really taking most things because I feel like I just bought them, so I should. Okay, so the Remember is too big, so I'm gonna put that one aside. This one's super cute, and it puts this pattern in a much smaller size, so that will work. This pattern, let's see, and then that is the end of the papers. So I'm gonna put all of these pattern papers right here on the edge, and I have some space to add some more papers as I go through the other supplies. So that is everything from Ali Edwards. I do have some supplies from a few other manufacturers. So next I have from Freckled Fawn. So Freckled Fawn is a company where I am on their creative team. So they sent me their kit from this year from the month of October, which happened to be their holiday theme kit. And so I did use it to create a few projects, but some of these things I want to also use in December Daily. So here's their alpha. I'm gonna just stick that in here with my stickers. They have these little wood veneer trees, which I think are super cute. And I actually have some wood veneer trees in here that are a different style and size, but I think that it would be the best organization wise to just add these in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. They have washi strips, so I'm gonna put those in here. There's some chipboard circles, but these don't really stay in the backer. So I'm gonna pop them out. I'm actually gonna pop them out and put them, that's such a satisfying popping sound. So there's some numbers. So I'm gonna actually add these into my number stash here, which is something that I kind of do as I'm going through supplies. I'm always adding things to the numbers. And then these are puffy stickers. They are too big to fit in there, so they go over here. Label stickers, same thing. They're too big to fit in there, so they're gonna go over here with some other label stickers. And let's see, here's more of the washi strips. I knew there were 2 sheets of those. Then we've got some pocket cards. We've got a few 3x4 ones. So I'm gonna just stick over here with these ones. And then we've got some papers. So this pattern paper are numbers. So I actually wanna cut these out and stick them in with my numbers. So I'm gonna put that to the side. I will do that in a bit. I've got some scraps here, some smaller scraps, and then I've got some larger scraps of this paper, this tree paper, or this house paper is one of my favorites. I'm gonna just put the scraps here in the front. So the problem is the 12x12 papers don't actually fit in this box. The 10x8 papers do. So these are 12x12. So I'm going to have to put these in a separate tray, which is fine, but I'm going to just store those to the side and grab a tray from my stash. This one is kind of messy, but it's not gonna get on my paper, to keep my 12x12 papers in. And then this one I do want to cut up. And then this one was from last year's Ali Edwards, and I had cut some of them out, and I think I want to cut these out and store them as embellishments. So this is like a stack of things I want to get to put in here, but I'm not going to do that until the very end. Okay, so these chipboard pieces need a spot. See, in here I have chipboard in here, but these ones are new. So I think I'm going to put them in here for now. Okay, so then the next kit I'm working with is the Felicity Jane kit. So I purchased this kit from Felicity Jane this year because they are a brand that I have loved in the past. I don't usually get their holiday kits, but they are going out of business, so this is the very last one that they're making. So I kind of felt like I had to get it this year. And so I'm gonna go through here. There's a ton of supplies, and I'm going to work them into my system. have one more kit that I want to share with you. That is from Layered Life. So Layered Life is a new company and I am on their creative team. And they also just sent me their holiday collection, which I absolutely love and can't wait to dig into. So they have these numbers, which I'm gonna go ahead and stick into my number set. There's their 6x6 papers, which you guys, I have to say, their papers, this is where this kit, where this brand really shines. Like, look at these, look at this paper. I'm obsessed with this paper. And it's just so beautiful. And then there's stickers and there's a few different die cut packs. I'm not gonna go through all of those now because I am going to use this kit to create another project before December Daily, but then I'm going to put all of these pieces in here to work with while I'm working through my December Daily project. So that's everything that's new. The last thing I have to do is go through some of my old stuff. So I have 3x4 cards, I have 4x6 cards, I have some papers, and I was originally thinking I wanted to kind of go through here and take out some of this stuff. Like, you know what I do? Some of these, I'm just gonna go through really quickly. So some of these 4x6 cards, so to work a 4x6 card in this kit, I have to do it vertically. So all of these like transparencies and stuff, these are fine to be vertical. And this one obviously was designed to be vertical. Some of these are like pattern papers that are cut down. But like this one, the trees, like I don't want sideways trees. So I'm gonna save that. This one, again, I don't want. These ones, you know, they have this prompt on here. It just doesn't, all of these ones have these like prompts on them. It's a whole set. They don't fit in this album. So I'm gonna save those. This one does work. These ones don't really work. Not really. Maybe, that's a maybe. No, and no. So I'm going to put all of these aside to use in another year. And these 4x6 ones, I'm going to add up here with the 4x6 cards from this year. And I'm not sure how much you can see on the screen. The 3x4 ones, they're all large enough to fit in the album. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick them all in here and I will go through them as I'm putting together my album to decide if I want to use any of them. The 6x8 papers, again, most of these will work. Like this one obviously is not going to work, so I'm gonna put that one aside. But I'm just quickly flipping through and seeing like most of these things, I think this one is too big. Yeah, that's again not going to fit. This one's not going to fit, not going to fit. But most of these things are, I'm trying to say, did I flip this? Yeah. You know, they're patterns or they're smaller and they will just, they'll work. So yeah, all of these I'm going to keep in here. Just gonna stick them in here with these, with the 6x6 papers. And then these two are 8.5x11, just glitter gold cardstock that I picked up from Michael's because I thought I might want to use something like that. And I'm just gonna stick those in here. Okay, so that is everything. This can stack right here. This can stack here. I have my, oh, and then, sorry, thought it was everything. I have my holiday stamps here. So I do have this new one, and then I have these holiday ones. I'm just gonna stick the stamps right here. And then my album itself is going to go right here. So and then this, I always store this kind of like up on top like this when I'm not working on it. So everything is contained to this box, my numbers box, and my 12x12 papers and that I have on a tray. And I will keep all of this out on my desk during the month and I will be able to pull from it while I'm working. Again, I do still have to put, oh, here's my paper scraps. I'm just gonna put my scraps in here, the other papers. And then I do have to cut out these things and then put these numbers in here. And, oh, and I have this, which I'm gonna keep that in my tray with my 12x12 papers. And then I have my Layered Life kit, which will also just slide right in here. But that's it. That is everything I have to pull from. I don't think you really need to see me like fussy cutting these out and sticking them in. But basically, I'm going to just stick all these numbers where they belong. And then these ones I will keep in one of these little trays. I hope that you enjoyed this video and are just as excited as I am to dive into December daily.